Hi everyone, I'm Amy from the Global Coffee Awards and PRF team, and I'll be your host for today. But before we begin, we're gonna have some 5 minutes to wait for people to join the webinar. And so I'm gonna share a little bit about myself, and I'm Amy, as you already know. I'm a geographer. I'm also super passionate about coffee. And I also have a culinary arts degree. So my way into coffee has been a little bit like into different areas about it. And then I ended up here in PRF last year in December. So I've been already to the Honduras PRF, which was amazing. It was our 10th edition. And I'm also joined here by Laure from Belco. So
Hey
she's
guys.
going to be one of our super special guests in this webinar. So hi, Laure. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, please?
Hi everyone. Thank you very much, Maria, for welcoming me and to all the team that organized this webinar. I'm working at Belco, a green coffee and cacao importing company based in France, but also at origin in Addis Ababa for Ethiopia, in Colombia, and in Salvador. It's a family company, and we do import specialty coffee since more than 15 years to sell this coffee to roasters in Europe mainly. And my background, because you started sharing your story,
Just a little bit,
um,
yeah.
been more than 10 years that I'm working in specialty coffee. I loved it because it allowed me to travel. So I discovered coffee in Canada, went back to France to start a barista career, continued this career in Japan, came back to France as a barista again, and working at Belco since 6 years now. And I started working at Belco for developing an equipment range for roasters and coffee shops. And now it's a year, more than a year, that I work creating and building relationships for all the community, from producers to customers, roasters, and coffee shop, and also seeing like a larger community to really give a voice for all the chain for specialty coffee and promoting it.
That's amazing. Thank you, Laure. So do you still apply your barista skills? Do you still, I don't know, do you have a side hustle related to being a barista, or you're just on this side of the coffee industry now?
If you come at Belco, when you will come at Belco,
Oh,
you
yes.
will see that we have kind of a coffee shop
Oh, nice.
that I'm very happy to work at for all the coffee breaks. We welcome a lot of people actually here. We are, first of all, 50 people working at the office, and then we welcome customers, we welcome suppliers and all partners. And I'm really enjoying a lot designing experiences for them to come. So for people that don't know anything about coffee, I will love to see this phase of the first experience with specialty coffee, which drives, I think, a lot of barista in their daily work. And all the events that we participate or organize, I still have the huge pleasure of being a barista. Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. Sounds super great. I also made a barista course, but I have to be honest, I haven't applied as much as you have done. So I would really like to, improve my barista skills as well. So yeah, when I come to Belco, you can give me some tips there.
Yes, with pleasure. And
Thank you.
I think that being a barista, when I started, it was very far away from the today's technique. So it's everyday work to get on the track. And sometimes I ask myself if I should still call myself a barista, because I'm actually not working in a coffee shop, serving
Right.
people every day. But yeah, I still addicted to it, like to be able to serve coffee and seek for new techniques. And you're the magician at the end of the chain. that have all the pressure to transform this bean for the final consumer.
That's right. Thank you, Laura, for sharing a little bit about yourself with us and to join me for these first 5 minutes. Thank you so much. And then we'll have you back with us for the rest of the webinar. So before we dive into the content of the webinar, I just want to share with all this community a super special thing. We have already confirmed our next PRF, which is going to be in El Salvador in March 26 and 27 of next year. So PRF El Salvador 2026. We're still finalizing some things like the floor map and everything, but soon we will be able to share everything with you guys. Also, we want to really thank you for all the people who have sent responses to PRF El Salvador, and wait for the next news and things to come about it. So I guess now we can dive into the webinar. So again, hello to everyone who is just joining us. I'm Emmy, and I'll be guiding you through this webinar today. So the goal of the webinar is to share with you what are the Global Coffee Awards, everything you need to know about them. So I'm your host, and we're going to have 3 super special guests during this webinar. Henry, the CEO of PRF and Global Coffee Awards and PDG. Laure from Welco, who some of you have already met. And William Dunaway from Copen Trade. So the content of this webinar, we're going to go into what are the Global Coffee Awards, how they work, which are the benefits of entering, recognition, media, feedback, and everything else that you need to know about it. Then we're going to go into the categories, the judging criteria, and some submission tips that we have for you. And then we're going to go through the whole process of registering, choosing the right entry bundle, and some exclusive insights from the GCA organizers and our super special host partners. At the end, we're going to have a live Q&A with all the team behind the competition so that we can solve any questions and things that you may have. So let's get into it. What are the Global Coffee Awards? The Global Coffee Awards are a brand new competition which aims to recognize and celebrate the world's top specialty coffee roasters, but also the producers. So this competition is going to feature a blind evaluation of specialty coffee samples across different categories that I'm going to share later during this webinar. Something super special is also that it's going to be a blind judge conducted to obviously evaluate your coffees and everything that you submit to us. The panel is going to be composed of certified experts, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later, but it's good for you to know now about that. Something really important about the Global Coffee Awards is that every sample which is submitted to us is going to receive a professional feedback and global visibility. So how you're going to receive this global visibility, we're going to go there in a bit. And all winners from the categories are going to qualify for the international finals, which are going to be held in PRF El Salvador 2026. So this is a super important part about the Global Coffee Awards because they are powered and supported by PDG Global Media Network. Why this makes a difference? Because it is supported by the Global Authority of Perfect Daily Grind, Coffee Intelligence, PRF, and so they are backing up all these super new projects. So meet our hosts. Before we go into the hosts, I want to also mention that the Global Coffee Awards are going to happen in 3 different regions, as you can see from these slides. So we have decided to go with US and Canada, origin roasted countries, and Europe. So what do we mean with origin roasted? So countries where coffee is produced and coffee is roasted in the same country. We're going to have different dates for this competition. And for each of these countries, we have been sponsored by some host partners. What does this mean? That all your coffee samples are gonna be shipped and stored in our host partners' installations. So for Europe, we have Belco. And for US and Canada and Origin Roasted, we have Copen Trade. So who's Belco? As Laura was saying, Belco is a renowned green coffee importer based in France that they are dedicated to sourcing not only coffee, but also other type of things, such as cacao, for example, and they ensure fair trade practices, as well as other sustainable practice along the value chain. And then for the US, we have Copen Trade. Copen Trade is also a super special partner for us, for the whole PDG family. So they are a family-owned importer based in Texas, and they have 35 plus years of experience sourcing exceptional green coffee. So the regional competitions. As I was telling you, we're gonna have 3 regions: US and Canada, Origin Roasted, and Europe. When are the competitions gonna take place? For US and Canada, they're gonna take place on September 29 and 30. For Origin Roasted, they're gonna be on October 1st. Both of them are gonna be hosted at Copen Trade installations in Houston, Texas. So this means that every coffee which is submitted for the Global Coffee Awards in these regions will have to be shipped to the Copen Trade installations. Also, there's something important to be aware here. The deadline to receive your coffees at Copen Trade is going to be September 26. For Europe, the competition is going to take place on October 28 and 29 in Bordeaux, France, and it's going to be hosted at Belco. What does this mean? That your coffees should be shipped to Belco until October 24. Why do we ask for this deadline? Because we're going to have a pre-selection phase before going into the actual competition. So, which are the benefits of entering the Global Coffee Awards? We have a lot of benefits, super curated, super well thought, with the idea of celebrating, as I told you, the roasters, the mastery of roasting behind it, and also giving a lot of exposure to everyone who is submitting the coffees to this competition. So what do you get? You get trophies, certificates, you get a lot of professional media exposure through the Perfect Daily Grind network. Every coffee, as I told you, gets detailed judging feedback, which I believe is super important because you get to have a feedback only for your coffee samples. And everyone is going to receive that regardless of the award they receive. Winning coffees are going to be featured at the brew bar at PRF. So that's also another super important reason to enter the Global Coffee Awards, since your coffees are going to be exposed during PRF. Many people in the industry is going to be able to try your coffees also. Then we're going to host a super special ceremony, award ceremony during PRF, to celebrate the winners, to celebrate everyone who has submitted samples, who has submitted entries to the Global Coffee Awards. And so winners of the different categories, they get to have 2 free tickets for the awards ceremony. What else do you get? So winners also get a digital catalog in the ones that are going to be included, showcasing your coffees and everything. And this is going to be also shared with a global network. Category winners, they get the chance to be part of the sourcing trip experience during PRF. What is the sourcing trip experience? Is a very immersive experience all around coffee, where you roasters or green coffee buyers get to spend time at the coffee farms in our host countries. Let's say next year is going to be El Salvador. So you get to know everything around the coffee production process. So it's our most immersive experience during PRF. Also, winners from categories, they get the chance to speak at PRF and share an important topic or something which is trendy in the industry right now, and also to expose different things about their ways of, I don't know, roasting or different topics that they would like to talk about during PRF. And a very important feature and benefit of entering, I would say, the Global Coffee Awards is that you support the producers. I mean, what do I mean with this? That we're gonna find a way to also do a kind of like a reverse engineering situation to find the producers behind the coffees that are submitted for the Global Coffee Awards. So these awards do not only celebrate the roasters, but also the producers behind every coffee which is submitted. We're also going to explore this a little bit more later. And yes, so we have all these amazing benefits that you can get from participating in the Global Coffee Awards. So here is one of the main features of participating in the Global Coffee Awards are the official seals of excellence. Every coffee or which competes, obviously you're going to be competing for these three awards. So gold, silver, and bronze. And whoever wins gold, silver, or bronze gets the chance to use our digital and physical seals in your packaging, marketing, and sales material. So let's say that you win bronze for one of the subcategories within the filter category. We're going to go there later, but just to mention, you get to use the Europe Global Coffee Awards bronze certificate seal. Yes, as I was telling you, we honor the producers, so we are going to celebrate them. Also, winning producers are going to be invited to attend PRF in March 2026. That's why it is important for us to get to know who's the producer behind the coffee you are submitting. And they will be also honored during the awards ceremony, which is going to be held in the first night of PRF 2026 El Salvador. This is also a nice thing. So producers will also receive a GCA seal. These seals that they are going to be for also roasters, but also for producers. They are going to be able to use these same seals of excellence and certificates to recognize their role in the industry. So now let's talk about the competition categories and subcategories. We have curated different categories and subcategories to compete in the Global Coffee Awards. We thought of them for now, the most representative categories that we could think of, that we feel like most people is working with. So we have 4 main categories: filter coffee, espresso, flat white dairy, and flat white alternative milk. Within each category, we have a different number of subcategories. This is super important for you to take note, because the awards are gonna be are gonna be for each of the subcategories, but also for the category. So we're gonna dive there in just a few minutes. So for filter category, we have 8 subcategories: natural coffee, washed coffee, honey, experimental processing method, blend, single origin, robusta, and decaf. For espresso, we have blend, single origin, and decaf. And then for flat white dairy milk, we have single origin in the filter category. You can submit up to 5 samples for each subcategory. So let's say that you want to submit 5 samples for the 8 subcategories. You can submit up to 40 samples just for one simple category, which is filter coffee. Then the same applies for espresso, flat white alternative milk, and dairy milk. So this is a main point to take with you, that you can submit up to 5 samples per each subcategory within each category. But then you are gonna compete. So for gold in each subcategory, you're gonna compete also to be the winner in each category. So how do you get to be the winner for each category? this is going to be a sum up of points for the number of awards that you have received within subcategory. And then you also get to compete, like during the regional phase, you also get to compete to win the overall regional trophy. Who competes for that? So in order to be awarded the regional trophy, you need to compete for at least 3 categories. And then we will have a sum up of points to decide who the regional winner is. Another important thing to take into account from here is that we're going to have a global final. What does this mean? That the category winners get to go to the finals in PRF El Salvador and compete against the winners from other regions. So let's say US filter coffee is going to compete against origin roasted and Europe roasted coffees during PRF El Salvador. We can later during the Q&A, we can dive a little bit more into each category. So how will your coffee be judged? First of all, this is a very important step of the whole project because it's going to be blind tasted by some experts of the industry. The panel is gonna be composed of 1 lead judge, 4 certified sensory judges, and 8 shadow judges. The lead judge and the certified sensory judges are the ones who are gonna be in charge of judging and scoring your coffees. There will be calibration sessions every day since the beginning, during the competition also, and while all the competition is happening. And so how did we develop the evaluation protocol? We took into account, and it was inspired by different SCA standards, barista competitions, other competition frameworks that we could think about. We did a lot of research. We also did a lot of expert panels, curating these protocols that we developed. And we came into a new or our own protocol to judge your coffees. So it was curated with the input from industry experts, such as people who has also judged in different competitions, roasters, and any expert who can give us some feedback about this. So this was also tailored to each specific category. A little bit more on the judging protocols. So for instance, for filter coffee and espresso, we have decided to use these parameters, which are aroma, flavor, aftertaste, acidity, body, balance, defects, sweetness, and overall experience. That's what we're going to be evaluating. Remember that this is going to be a tasting evaluation because we're going to be brewing your coffees, we're going to be extracting the espressos. So it's not going to be a cupping protocol, rather it's going to be an evaluation protocol. So for flat white dairy and alternative milk, which is going to be the final cup is going to be the one evaluated, we're going to use sweetness, balance, coffee presence, mouthfeel, and an overall experience to evaluate your coffees. So are you ready to enter? Here's how it works. First of all, you have to visit the Global Coffee Awards website, and then you will have to click on Submit Entries. So there you will have the different options to join the different regions that we have. Bear in mind with that, so that you choose the correct region for your case. So there you can choose Canada, US, origin roasted, or Europe. After you do that, you will have to go to the next step, which is going to be choose the number of submissions or entries that you wish to send to us. And the platform is going to guide you through that. So you choose the number that you wish to submit, you send the payment, and then we are in charge of the rest of it. Here's an important thing. You go down the website and there's a scroll down here. In the one, you will need to choose your region, select the number of entries, and pay via Stripe. In this case, we have early bird pricing until August 15. So also take that a lot into account. And each of the bundles that we are suggesting here, they come with different benefits. So let's say starting at 10 entries, you get a free STE ticket to attend to PRF El Salvador 2026. These are the numbers of coffees that you are going to be able to ship to us, to our host facilities in the US or in France. If you wish to submit a different number, you are able to submit a different number. Remember that the higher submissions you send, the higher your chances of winning a category or also winning a subcategory or also winning the overall regional champion. So here is super important to consider that and your chances of getting an award, a gold winner award. Prices and benefits. So for US and Canada, they start, so one single entry is right now for early bird prices until August 15th. They start at $99. For origin roasted, they start at $79. And for Europe, they start at 89 euros. So these prices are gonna change after the early bird. You can also have more information about this in our website. And then remember also that starting at 10 entries, you get free tickets to PRF, one free ticket to PRF and the sourcing trip experience, which is going to be super nice next year. We're planning a lot of incredible things for the sourcing trip experience and for PRF. So I really suggest you to take this into account and also to remember that what I already told you, the higher number of entries you send, the higher your chances of winning a category. So here we have made some suggestions for your bundles. So let's say that you wish to submit 5 entries. What we suggest you is to use these 5 entries into different subcategories of each category, right? So let's say in this case, you could submit 1 filter washed coffee, 1 filter blend coffee, 1 espresso blend, and then 1 for flat white dairy milk with a blend, and 1 for flat white alternative milk with the blend subcategory. Why is that? Because if you compete in 3 or more categories, you get the chance to be named the overall regional winner. Then let's say that you want to compete with 10 entries. Same. We have here some suggestions. What we suggest is you to compete in more categories within the filter category, then also to choose more subcategories or all the subcategories in the espresso category, and then 1 for flat white dairy and 1 for white alternative milk. So this is what we suggest, but then it's up to you how you decide to use your entries. Obviously, competing in more categories gives you higher chances of competing for the regional award. So now we're gonna go with our special guests that they are gonna be able to share a little bit more of their experience and what they are expecting about the Global Coffee Awards. So we're gonna begin with Henry, who is our CEO and who is gonna be able to share some incredible insights about GCA.
Thanks. Can you hear me all right?
Yes. Hi, Henry. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me and doing a great job on the webinar. So, I just wanted to share a few thoughts related to the event and particularly the Global Coffee Awards and what we're looking forward to. So the basic purpose behind this is, in addition to all of the reasons that Emmy mentioned, is really to create a platform for the world's best roasters to be recognized, both at a regional level, but then also at an international level. So if you think about it, if you're one of the best roasters in Canada, you can compete and win the North America competition. And let's say you progress to the global finals, you have the opportunity actually within at PRF El Salvador in March, we do the finals, to be crowned, say, the best in the world, or even potentially a roaster from origin. As I'm currently in Colombia, there's outstanding roasters here, for example, can actually not only be recognized as, say, the world's best origin roaster, but also, sorry, the best origin roaster, but also the world's best roaster. I also want to also give a disclaimer that obviously, like, we're starting in the 3 regions that we've outlined, but our plan is over the next year to expand into more regions as well. So unfortunately, we weren't able to cover absolutely everywhere. And then I also want to talk a little bit more about the producer recognition, which Emmy touched upon. So essentially what it means is every time a roaster submits a bag of coffee to a given subcategory, the producer or cooperative or representative is automatically enrolled. So what that means is if that coffee wins either gold, silver, or bronze, then we will find out, potentially through speaking directly through the roaster, who may have a direct contact, following up with the importer. We will do our very best to find out who produced that coffee. And then if it's a winning coffee, that producer will also be awarded the certificate and the seal so they can use on their branding. But then also, in addition to that, they'll be invited to the award ceremony next March. Because the idea is this is a platform not just for recognizing the world's best roasters, but also for the producers who facilitate that and grow those coffees. Similarly, in terms of how we run this, it's important to recognize that this is recognizing the brand of the roastery and not the individual. So there are a number of fantastic competitions, but the goal here is that the brand is recognized and we recognize the collective works of everyone who comes together to make that coffee. I don't know if you have any questions, Emmy.
Yeah, I just wanted to explore a little bit more how the reverse engineering process about finding the producers is gonna be like. How do you think about that process?
Okay, so hopefully, with the majority of the roasters who apply, they will have a good idea of who the producer was, or the cooperative, or the exporter, or the association that grew that coffee. So we'll be able to get the information through the roaster's resources or through following up along the value chain, perhaps the importer. If not, we're fortunate to have like a global team through the entire network. So we'll be able to do everything possible to try and find out, for example, let's say also that we know approximately the town where the coffee comes from, the variety. We can try and follow up there. But also what may happen as well is if someone applies for say the blend category on the espresso on the filter, we can also recognize a representative of each producer or association or co-op that forms that blend. So let's say there's someone from Honduras, someone from Ethiopia, and another part from Brazil. They will all 3 be awarded and be eligible to attend PRF and also the award ceremony. And what that also means quite cool is that a lot of roasters who source and roast a huge range of coffees, they might not actually have met, all of the producers they partner with. So we can actually, facilitate that, because the goal for us is to build community and also to build a platform so that, we recognize everyone along the supply chain, but also that the roasters themselves who produce these outstanding coffees and roast fantastically can be recognized.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think that's one of the main benefits and interesting things of the Global Coffee Awards, that if you haven't met your producer, you are going to get the chance to do so, right? Just one final thought, Henry. What makes the GCA unique? Just if you can share super fast, what would you say it makes these Global Coffee Awards unique?
So I mentioned a little bit about how it's how we have a very global focus. So we have like regional winners, but then also we invite people to the global final. And then also in addition to that, we've really carefully curated all of the categories and subcategories in accordance with basically feedback we've got from roasters and feedback we've got from across our publications and across the media group. And the goal for us is not just to recognize, say, the best roaster of a particular in general, but we understand that every coffee has a market, and different coffees, may also deserve, like, there's a huge wide range of coffees and they all deserve recognition, right? So we've actually taken the time to break it down to look at, okay, what kind of coffees are roasters specializing in? What is the market looking for? What are consumers looking for? And how can we build a platform so that those coffees can be recognized? Because the idea is that this will support roasters to sell their coffee for an additional price premium by having this certification seal, which is endorsed through a rigorous judging process. And I'm sure you can share the judging protocols offline or follow up with everyone, but then also through world-class judges with a lot of experience, and then the industry authority of Perfect Daily Grind, which has been going over 10 plus years, and the entire group.
Yes, that's right. All our protocols have been curated to reflect the way the coffees are prepared, are served, and what the market is expecting for it. So thank you very much, Henry, for joining us here today. Thank you for taking the time to share a little bit more about the Global Coffee Awards. And now we're gonna go with our next guest. So
All
for
right.
our next, thank you. For our next guest, we have Laure from Belco. Hi, Laure, again.
Hi again,
Thank you for being here. So, Laure, I wanted to ask you some questions related to your expectations about the Global Coffee Awards and those kind of things. So, what motivated Belco to become the host partner for Europe for the Global Coffee Awards?
At Belco, we've always believed that the coffee is a collective effort, obviously from the producers to the roasters, and all the way to the cup. So when we discovered that the Global Coffee Award is a competition where roasters enter also by choosing to represent a producer, and if they win, that both are invited to the final together. And probably, like Henry said, maybe even meeting the producer for the first time. Yes, we really believe that we wanted to be part of it. And that recognition for shared work and shared success is exactly what we stand for. It does put the spotlight back on traceability also, and on the importance of valuing every link of the chain. Also, we see this competition as a way to build stronger bridges between the producers and the roasters, and to highlight, again, like Henry said, the incredible diversity of coffees, and to give the roasting its place in that story. Hosting this competition at Belco is a natural fit for us. We do have the infrastructure that apparently Henry loved while visiting us this summertime.
Yeah, he was in love with it.
We do have a quality lab and team of QGrader, and also the experience to welcome tastings and certification like QGrading. And actually, all Belco's team is super happy to welcome the competition team and to be part of this adventure.
That's amazing.
We can't wait to have you all at Belco. And more than anything, we said yes because we believe in what competition represents, and particularly this one: transparency, building a global coffee community, inclusivity, and a shared vision of quality.
Thank you, Laure. Those are exactly our mission as GCA and PRF, to build community in the coffee industry. So just one last question. So what would you say to a small roaster in Europe who is unsure of entering the Global Coffee Awards?
We would say that this competition was made for you. First, because like you could have understood from the presentation, it's super accessible. Technically, it's only a bag that you can submit in each subcategory. of roasted coffee. And what I really like also is the fact that there is a maximum for the value of the bag of €50 for Europe. So that makes it accessible for roasters, but also more close to the reality of what a roaster would sell to the end consumer. So it's not all about the competition, super rare micro lots. It's not intimidating format. It's just the coffee that you already believe in and source for your customers. For any types of roasters, even for independent small roasters that never competed. It's really accessible.
Yeah, thank you, Laure. Exactly, that's exactly the purpose of the Global Coffee Awards. And actually, thank you for mentioning the eligibility criteria as well. So before you leave, I wanted to mention this. So there are some eligibility criteria. First of all, you need to be a commercially registered company. Then there's a price cap for the coffees that you are going to submit. As Laure mentioned, it's going to be €50 for Europe for a bag of 250 grams in Europe. And then for the US and origin roasted, we have different eligibility criteria that I am going to share later at the end. So thank you, Laure. Thank you so much for your input. Thank you for inviting small roasters and big roasters and any type of roaster which is based in Europe. We're super thrilled and happy to have Belco with us as our host partner. We're sure that this is going to be an amazing competition in Europe. So thank you very much for joining me here today. So for our next guest, we're going to be talking with William Dunaway from Cup and Trade. Hi, William. How are you?
Hello.
How's everything going? Thank you for joining me today.
Cannot complain. This is one of the fun parts of being in the coffee business, getting involved with the community.
Of course, yes. So William is representing Cup and Trade, our host partner in the US, where the coffees from the US and Canada region are going to be shipped to, and also from the origin roasted region. So, William, I have two questions that I would like to talk with you. So the first one is, what are your expectations from this first edition of the Global Coffee Awards?
Standardization, as we will be able to measure and gauge what the market is asking for, what demand is looking like, and what consumers are actually drinking.
Yeah, that's right. It gives you a picture of what's going on in the market right now and what consumers are expecting. So I guess that's a super important feature also from the Global Coffee Awards. Then I would like you to tell us why do you think roasters in origin countries should apply for the Global Coffee Awards?
Because nowadays, with the information age, with social media and just technology in general, consumers are actually hungry for the information on where coffee comes from, well, how do they grow, and because of the value added in the chain in the coffee roasters, they will have the budgets and the know-how and the experience on portraying and expressing what they do. Um, that's pretty much it. It will give you a platform where you can tell the world that you're doing a good job and offer what you do to the consumers.
Yeah, I feel like it's a super important opportunity for roasters in origin countries, as this is going to be a global platform for them to showcase their coffees, what they are doing, the roasting profiles that they are using, how is coffee being drinked in different origin countries. So I believe this is a great platform also for all of them. So yeah, thank you, William, for joining us also today. We're super excited to see all the coffees from the US and Canada and origin roasted countries that are going to arrive to COP and Trade, and can't wait for the competition to begin there. So thank you very much. Bye-bye. So now we have a Q&A, but before we go with the Q&A, I wanted to share some small details with you guys. So the eligibility criteria. As I already mentioned, first, it should be a commercially registered company, the ones that are applying for the Global Coffee Awards. Then in the US and Canada, you will have to send 340 grams or 12 ounces of vacuum sealed coffee. This also applies for Europe and origin roasted. So we need you to send a sample of 340 grams of coffee per entry. So remember, if you're going to apply for within the filter category for, let's say, washed, honey, and experimental processing methods, you are going to have to send 3 samples of 340 grams or 12 ounces of vacuum sealed coffee for each subcategory. And then you will have to fulfill a price cap requirement per region. So for the US and Canada, the cap price is $50 per 340 grams of coffee. So the retail price should be that one. For Europe, it should be 50 euros per 250 grams of coffee. And for origin roasted countries is going to be $25 per 250 grams of coffee. I mean this for the retail price of your coffee. So I guess now we have some minutes for the Q&A. Thank you for having all the team join me. Okay, so can I send 5 different coffees for each subcategory, but each coffee is a different entry? Yes, that's correct. You can send 5 different coffees for each subcategory, and each coffee that you send is a different entry. So this will mean that you can, let's say that you have 5, you want to send 5 samples for washed coffee. Yes, you can do that, but remember that you need to send 1 bag of 340 grams for each of the coffees that you are submitting. I don't know if that clarifies your question.
Yeah, and I think just to be clearer as well, because I know there was some distinction between categories and subcategories. So if you could just go back to that slide just quickly,
Sure.
Emmy. So we have the top level categories, but you actually apply and submit coffees to each subcategory. So for example, I was speaking to a roaster earlier today who's actually going to submit 40 different coffees because they want to submit multiple coffees to different subcategories as well. Similarly, if a roaster, for example, has an espresso, let's say, which is a decaf and a blend, then you could submit that same coffee for 2 different subcategories. And that's not a problem. You just have to pay the entry fee twice. And that's just something to clarify here. And I know that also in the kit, there's more detail about specifically the criteria and what we define as a natural washed honey, experimental, etc. But if any people have any questions at all, anyone can reach out and just let us know.
Yes, you can reach out to us. At the end of this presentation, I'm gonna leave there my email and contact so that you can reach out to us whenever needed. Thank you, Henry. I guess we can go with the next question, please. Can you get multiple awards if you submit several coffees?
So
Do you want to
yes, is the answer. Yeah.
Yes.
So you can win, for example, at the regional level, be recognized for winning a subcategory. And then if you could also explain about how we define who's the overall category winner and how we calculate that as well, because I think that's also an interesting point.
Right. So in order to be awarded the category winner, you will have to earn points in the different subcategories. So there's gonna be gold, silver, and bronze for each subcategory, right? So let's say that you win natural, washed, and honey. Each of those gold awards for each subcategory is gonna receive 3 points. So gold receives three points, silver receives 2 points, and then bronze receives 1 point. So at the end, what we do is to sum up all the awards you receive based on the number of points you are being granted for each of those awards. And the roaster with the highest number of points gets awarded the category award. So the gold award for each category. So that's why we say that the higher the number of samples that you submit, the higher your chances of winning a category and then also of winning the whole overall regional competition. That's just like in very short how we're gonna do that. But let's say you can also have gold subcategory natural. So you earn 3 points there. Then you can also have silver in blend. You earn 2 points there. But then you get 1 point, so you get a bronze award in decaf. So let's say that you are gonna be awarded a total of 6 points, right? So that's gonna be your total sum up of points for that category. So again, the higher the number of samples, the higher your chances of winning a category. Okay, if I submit 10 coffees but receive no award, will I still be able to go to the STE? Yes, because remember that the bundle deal of 10 plus entries comes with a free STE ticket for PRF El Salvador 2026.
And I think just to clarify what STE is, because not all roasters will be aware. So this will be the 11th edition of PRF. So we've done it for many years, with the first edition in 2016. And basically how the event works is we have the 2-day forum, which is where we have the roasting, different roasting competition, like a roasting championship with an individual. We have a cold brew championship. We have a fine cacao championship. We have a conference room, we have workshops, we have an exhibitor floor, and that's typically attended by about 2,000 to 3,000 attendees, predominantly producers, exporters, cooperatives, and then normally between about 300 to 500 international roasters from about 30 countries. And that's the 2-day forum. But then the 3 days before the forum, we normally have about between 150 roasters from many different countries, ranging from the US to Taiwan to Saudi Arabia to the UK. And these roasters are divided up into groups of typically between 10 to 20 to try and match different roasters so they can get on well with each other and have complementary needs and business interests. Those roasters then spend 3 days before the event in the farms, visiting exporters, tasting coffees, learning about processing methods, and ultimately building relationships with producers. So any roaster who submits 10 coffees, as Emmy mentioned, automatically is invited to have a free ticket for this year's STE. And I think it's a great asset because the STE ticket includes, for those 3 days, accommodation, food, in-country transport, basically everything's covered. And we charge $2,000 normally for that. And the reason why we're doing this is because the more roasters that participate in both this event and also in PRF, the better the experience for everyone. And we're also really pushing to try and expand the network. So over the years, we've had literally thousands of roasters attend PRF. And we just want to keep growing and keep inviting new people. So even if perhaps the Global Coffee Awards isn't for you, please do check out PRF or even pass it on to someone who might know it.
Definitely do that. Okay, I think we have one more question, right? If I take advantage of the early bird price, do I need to send the coffee right away? I want it to be as fresh as possible. No, you don't have to send it right away. Actually, after you pay, we send you a form so that you have to fill out with all the information about the coffee that you're gonna send. But let's say that you pay right now and you decide that you want to submit one type of coffee that you have at this moment. But then in 1 month, you change your mind and you decide that you want to submit another coffee for that entry that you paid. You can do that. It is okay. You can change the coffee that you wish to submit up to 1 month prior the deadline of submission. So let's say the submission deadline is on September 26th. You can change your mind of the coffee that you wish to submit until August 26th. So you can pay now, but you don't have to send your coffee right away. The only thing is that you have to make sure that your coffee sample arrives by September 26th in the case of the US and Canada and origin roasted countries, or by October 24 in the case of Europe.
Yeah, and just to emphasize what Emily said is that we highly recommend people to submit earlier to benefit from the early bird pricing, and also because there is a limit on the number of samples we're able to take as well. So we want to ensure that people lock it in, and you can always lock it in the price and then submit the form later. Similarly, this is a nice segue into another point, which is we carefully selected Belco and Copantrade because of their experience in not only like facilitating the green coffee trade, but also and in the logistics side, but also because they have the storage facilities. So all of the roasted coffee that we receive will be stored under temperature controlled conditions, humidity controlled conditions to ensure that your coffee is best brewed to realize its potential.
Yeah, that's why also all coffee submitted, they have to come vacuum sealed. All samples that you are wishing to submit for the competition.
I don't think they have to come vacuum sealed. I think it's an option if people want to clarify.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Remember, the early bird price is until August 15th, the deadlines, and also here you have the QR codes for our entry kits for Europe, origin, US, and Canada entries. Please make sure to download these entry kits. And then also here you have a QR code which takes you to the general rules of the competition. There you can see all the recipes, all the protocols, all the parameters that we're gonna use, the scoring system, and everything that you need to clarify just in case. Also, thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. If anyone needs further information, you can always contact us. You have our emails. And before we go, I want to extend a sincere thank you to both of our host partners that joined us today, and also to our CEO, Henry, who were super insightful and helpful during this webinar. So thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you.